Mark, good to see you from Auxico. You've had two pieces of significant news that I'm very interested in updates, starting with Bolivia.
On September 12th of this year, we announced that we had signed a memorandum of understanding with a group in Bolivia called El Benton. And this is a very interesting property for a number of reasons. This is a past producing property. They had exported niobium concentrates to Germany in 2013. It's fully permitted. They have environmental permits. They have mining operating permits. And so we believe this is a project that can deliver a near-term cash flow as we can do direct shipping ore quite quickly and easily from that property. We've taken and looked at a number of samples from this property, and this is primarily a niobium and tantalum bearing property. Some of the concentrates we're getting from the El Benton property are in the range of about 50% niobium, 22% tantalum, and those are exceptional grades, and that's direct shipping concentrate that we can do from the property. In addition to the tantalum and niobium, we are discovering a slew of rare earth elements too, including neodymium, gadolinium, and others. Neodymium is probably the most interesting one, and we're getting in the concentrates grades of close to 11%. And neodymium, together with praseodymium, terbium, and dysprosium, they're the four key elements that are needed in the magnets that go into the electric vehicle motors, that go into the EVs, that are powering the green revolution. So if you don't have access to those four, you're going to have a problem creating the magnets and creating the motors. So our goal as Auxico is to be a leader in providing these kind of materials to the industry and helping that green revolution along.
So it's my understanding, based on your investor talk, Mark, you were talking about how you picked up a past producing mine. How was Auxico able to find this? Can you tell us a little bit more about how you brought the deal together?
Yes, we have a geologist that is from Bolivia. I knew this property quite well, and he worked with us on our Colombian property. So he introduced us to this property, to the owners, and again, we looked at some of the data. This is a past producing mine in Bolivia. It exported niobium to Germany about 10 years ago. It's fully permitted. It has environmental permits, mining operating permits, and it's rich in a number of elements. So they have produced concentrates with significant amounts of niobium, tantalum. There's a number of rare earth elements, including neodymium, which is a key element in the magnets. And we've also identified a lithium anomaly on the property that, again, it merits more work, but again, it seems to be, it's polymetallic, and it's a number of the strategic and critical minerals that we hope to feed to the market. So we talked to the owners. They require some capital to renew the permits, and we have an arrangement whereby we will provide the necessary capital to begin direct shipping of concentrates, and we'll have an 85% interest for 140,000 US dollars, which to us seemed like a good deal.
So specifically, first of all, your news releases are better written than most in the market. You said that your objective is to relaunch the mine for production, and you really focus on the niobium and tantalum. Can you give us a little bit more of the timeline on when you plan on relaunching it?
Yeah, so right now, we just announced this in September, so it's fairly recent. We need to renew the environmental and operating permits, which is the current owners are in the process of doing that. That shouldn't take too long, maybe a couple of months, and then we'll look at how we can begin to produce those concentrates and ship them. So it's definitely going to go into the new year, 2024. But the good thing about this property, Tracy, is that it's, as I said, it's fully permitted. It's about 200 kilometers from Santa Cruz, which is the business capital of Bolivia. Easy access, and the fact that it has produced in the past is good, and it did have customers in Germany and so forth. So we hope to relaunch this as quickly as possible once we get the permits.
So speaking of that, really Auxico has been a front runner at actually getting deals and actually producing and selling, as you've done in the Congo already. But let's flip to Colombia now. You've had some news recently. Can you give us an update?
Yes. So we've worked in Colombia for a number of years, and in order to begin small-scale production, we need a couple of permits. One is from the National Mining Agency, which we received some time ago. The other is an environmental permit, which we received recently. And so the mining agency has given us a registration certificate, which now says you can go and operate the property. One of the things that we did in Colombia was we had an option to buy the property. So we would be the property owner as well as the miner in that region. So just make it easier to begin production. So we're in the process of transferring that title to Auxico, which could take a bit of time. But in the meantime, we have an agreement where we have basically 100% economic interest in the property. So while we're doing that whole process of transferring title, we hope to begin small-scale production. So according to the permits we have, we can produce and export up to 300 metric tons of material a month. And so what we've identified on the property is significant amounts of tin, and these come in the form of pebbles. So it's very easy to create those concentrates. You don't need a lot of equipment, a lot of capex. You need basically a lot of pans and screens. And so we had, when we were working on the property, about a year and a half ago, we had about 22 employees on the property panning and screening, and we're able to get those high concentrates just by doing that. So that's our near-term goal, is to begin production there of up to 300 metric tons a month.
Any critical mineral follower, anyone interested in critical minerals, will see that you're true, a real critical mineral company. You seem to be really focused on tantalum, tin, niobium, but also nickel. Can you just give us a background on the involvement of Central American nickel, which some of us in the private markets are also following? Thank you.
Yeah, so Central American Nickel, or CAN, is a related company. We have common directors and common shareholders, common management. I'm one of those parties. I'm in both companies. We kept CAN private because it had nickel concessions in Guatemala, which previous governments were not too friendly to the mining industry, which has since changed. And so CAN has acquired a number of properties in Guatemala, also in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and is looking at other jurisdictions for significant amounts of critical minerals. And CAN is in the process of doing a significant fundraising, working on that. And in June of this year, CAN acquired a significant amount of securities of Auxico, convertible debentures, shares, warrants, and all in, CAN has about 31% interest on a diluted basis of Auxico. And so we did that so that those shares and those securities wouldn't hit the market. And we're in a bad market, as you all know. So by having those securities in friendly hands, it helps Auxico. And also, if CAN succeeds, Auxico will succeed. So the interests of both companies are aligned. And both companies work together, as you mentioned, Tracy, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The companies are the first ones to export concentrates of rare earth elements since 1983. We've exported about 1,000 metric tons to date, and we hope to increase those amounts. We have another shipment that we're ready to do right now. So, CAN is focused more on nickel and other materials and in other jurisdictions, but the companies work together in the Congo, and now that CAN is a significant shareholder, has a vested interest in seeing Auxico succeed. And as I said, we're trying to capitalize CAN. And if that happens, then with all the securities, debentures, warrants, and so on that CAN owns of Auxico, that will help Auxico succeed.
Okay, well, that's very exciting. We've got past producing project in Bolivia, and that's obviously your priority. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's a key priority as it's fully permitted. We don't have to go through that whole permitting process. It has produced in the past. It's successfully sold product to customers in Germany. And I think all we have to do is to restart that whole process, renew the permits, which have already been granted. It's an administrative process. And then we look at how we can export concentrates from Bolivia, tantalum, niobium, and hopefully rare earths. And these, as you know, Tracy, these are the building blocks of the new green economy. And Auxico wants to be a leader of that.
On that note, if you would like more information on Auxico, and if you're following critical minerals, I'm certain you do, please go to the following website. Thank you, Mark, for joining us today.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, everyone, for your interest.